It's always fantastic to see you. I don't know how you do it. I've known you for 20 years, but you just never look a day older. So when I catch up with you next time, I'm going to...
Pick up line?
Hey?
Is that your pickup line?
No, it's just true. I'm going to get some tips from you next time I see you. Anyway, look, it's a great pleasure, Tam, to have you with us tonight. I know that you're a busy lady, and it was amazing. I reached out to you, and it was almost instantaneous that you came back and said yes, that you'd like to join in and add some value to our guys, and for that I'm eternally grateful. So, firstly, Tam, thank you for being so so willing to sow into everyone in the Juice Plus community and back to us as well. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Great. Guys, I'm going to do Tamara, the biggest service that I can and read this. We talk about duplication in the Juice Plus company, and a few weeks ago, I think, Tamara, you were interviewed with Celine. It may have been a few weeks ago. I don't know. I've lost track of time, but I just remembered Celine doing exactly the same thing and just going straight to the written bio, because as I said, it's that long, no one could possibly memorise this. So I'm just going to introduce you now. So guys, Tamara, or Dr. Tamara Hunter, completed an exercise science degree in 1996, graduating, of course, with first class honours. We wouldn't expect anything less from Marty. And worked as an exercise physiologist and corporate health consultant in Sydney, with some pretty major companies like Telstra, Lend Lease, Digital Computers, and I think that there were several others. That was around the time that you and I bumped into each other, Marty, back when you were an exercise physiologist. So, guys, in 1999, Tamara then assisted in the setup and operation of Sydney Heart Image. That's Australia's premier interventional cardiology and preventative healthcare centre, alongside the well-known cardiologist Dr. Ross Walker. Tamara returned to medical school in 2000 to achieve her dreams of becoming a doctor, and again, surprise, surprise, graduated with honours. Seems to be a trend, Tamara. And then, guys, in 2004, Tamara returned to Perth, and she's now an obstetrician, gynaecologist, fertility subspecialist and paediatric gynaecologist. Tamara is one of only 2 fertility subspecialists in WA and the only female, and works at Fertility Specialists of WA, King Edward Memorial Hospital and Perth's Children's Hospital. She's a senior lecturer in the School of Women's and Infants Health, University of WA, and was recently awarded Best Clinical Paper for the Fertility Society of Australia and New Zealand for her research into improving fertility outcomes. Tamara has published numerous research papers and presented at national and international medical conferences, has authored multiple book chapters on lifestyle and fertility. Preventative health practices and women's and children's health are truly Tamara's passion. So for those that don't know, Tamara is also a national marketing director with the Juice Plus company and has been with the company and on Juice Plus now for over 20 years. Partner to Mike and mum to gorgeous Juice Plus babies Sophie and Daisy, and built the Juice Plus business together with her mum Bronwyn Hunter, and that business has gone on to become quite a phenomenon. So Tamara, that is a heck of a mouthful. You are such an accomplished, amazing person, and again, I'm so grateful for you to be on tonight, sewing into our guys. And when we talked about doing this, you asked if we could do it interview style, which I thought was kind of really cool.
Surprise me, John.
Yeah, I do have a few questions, Tamara. I'm going to start off. Obviously, you and I met in the days when you're, back in exercise physiology, and I remember it feels like yesterday that Mark and I walked into your office there in Homebush at the Aquatic Centre. I still have the sound of the whistles and bells and everything going off there in my mind. So it was pretty recent. But Marty, I've always known you to be really measured. You've done a lot of due diligence in every facet of your life with everything that you've always looked at. And my first question was, obviously I know your story pretty well, but there was absolutely a defining moment, a significant moment around the Juice Plus capsules for you. And I was wondering if you could share, your story and what that defining moment for you with Juice Plus was.
Yeah. Thanks, John. Really, really appreciate the welcome. So I was 23 years of age, actually. And as John said, there are very few moments in your life that you clearly remember, but this was, for me, one of those sliding doors kind of moments in my life. And it's as clear as day. Like you said, John, the sounds, the visions, the smells, everything about this moment in time was really clear for me. So 23 years of age, literally burning the candle at both ends. So had done a degree in exercise physiology, really didn't know what I was going to do with it, working in a gym as a recreations manager at the time. Had great aspirations to go back to medical school. I think by the time I met you, John, I'd probably tried 6 times to get into medical school and been rejected at a pass. There's the first lesson, never give up. I was kind of at this crossroads in my life, and John and I had a mutual relationship in the past. His partner at the time and I had worked in a gym together, so we already knew each other. And John and Mark walked into the Sydney International Aquatic Centre. And I thought, oh, God, I'll just give them the time of day. I'm not buying anything that they've got to sell me. I'm not interested. I'm too busy. I'm, juggling a gym, juggling personal training clients, literally up at dawn and to bed at dusk, going to bed on my lean cuisine meals because at the time that was kind of all I could afford. And so I just thought, I'll just give them 5 minutes. And so I didn't actually really listen to anything that they had to tell me, to be perfectly frank. But they handed over this pile of information, a bunch of testimonials that were sort of photocopied sideways. But on the top of it was this cassette tape. And that kind of shows how old John and I are. And it wasn't pretty. It was a white tape with black writing on it. It didn't say anything particularly special. But I worked in a place that I lived an hour's drive from. I lived in Coogee and I was working in Burwood. It was an hour along Parramatta Road. And I thought, what else do I have to do except listen to the radio? I'll listen to this cassette tape. And for the next hour, I was absolutely engaged listening to Dr. Richard Du Bois, infectious diseases consultant, head of the university department where he was working with, espousing the benefits of fruits and vegetables and how important they were for general health and wellbeing, but particularly in his field of infectious diseases. And I had this white shining moment. I had this moment where literally the heavens opened and the angels sang, because I was working in an industry where I was constantly preaching to people about making healthier choices, making healthier choices when it came to fitting exercise in and doing flexibility and managing their stress and drinking more water and sleeping 7 to 8 hours a night. I was constantly trying to come up with solutions, but I was battling against this 21st century fast-paced life. And so I was always trying to figure out how I could make health an easier choice. And I'd realised that no matter how many meal plans I wrote, no matter how many weekly sort of recipe meal planners I gave to people to say, just follow this, for whatever reason, they couldn't, wouldn't, or didn't do fruits and vegetables very well. They didn't have time. It wasn't convenient. It wasn't available. All the excuses in the world around I'm just too busy. And so here I had an opportunity of this quick, convenient, easy way of getting fruits and vegetables in. And it wasn't just for my clients. It was for my friends. It was for my family. It was for their children. It was for their husbands, because there wasn't a person that I knew who didn't need more fruits and veggies. But the secondary part of all of this that, in the early days, I probably didn't say this to very many people because I wanted to be altruistic and I wanted to be giving and I wanted to be all about the product and health and so on. But I had this burning desire to go back to university to become a doctor. And I was living in Sydney. I was paying extraordinary rent, as you do when you're 23. I had more month at the end of my money, and I had no social support. All of my family were over in Perth. So I couldn't necessarily rely on mum and dad to help fund my way through university and pay for my rent and my car payments and my food and so on. So I'd kind of almost given up on my dream. I kind of almost said, look, this is just too hard. But here was an opportunity to work with a product that I was so aligned with, to work with a group of people that thought the same way that I did, and work in an environment where I could work it around university studies. So all of a sudden there was this glimmer of hope that actually maybe I could go back to university. Maybe I could work this in the nooks and crannies of my day around my university studies. And maybe, just maybe, I might be able to achieve my dreams of becoming a doctor. And it was because of Juice Plus. And John, I really didn't realize this until many years down the track, that if I hadn't taken that pathway, I probably wouldn't be in the position I am today. And I'm just eternally grateful for that.
Yeah, it's an amazing story, Tamara. When I think about it, you mentioned sliding doors moments, and I'm often thinking about that. Obviously with you tonight, thinking about your story, but both of us and all of us as NMDs have met people, have people in our team where we can sit down and go, wow, their life would have been so different, had it not been for the Juice Plus product and for the Juice Plus company. So, I resonate with you. And another great thing, Tamara, that you said up front, and I want everyone to pay particular attention to this, I thought it was great, is that Tamara didn't listen to a word that Mark and I said, at that meeting. Now, I'm constantly telling everyone to chill out, that you can't say the wrong thing to the right person and you can't say the right thing to the wrong person. So, guys, if ever, there was going to be proof of that, it's in what Tamara just said about 5 minutes ago. So thanks, Tamara, for bringing that up and making that so obvious. Can I just ask, Marty, one of the things that I think we all experience is a bit of an aha moment, I think, ourselves with the product. Something that, obviously there's all of the research in the world, and from your perspective, research is king. Can you remember, if there was something categorically that clicked for you with the Juice Plus product?
Do you know what? I don't think it was anything to do with the research, John. As much as, I'm a science head and I'm evidence-based and now more than ever, it's important that whatever I put my name to, it's actually going to do what it says it does.
Yeah.
But do you know what I think it was seeing the transformations. And, the greatest story that I have around the product is actually my mum's story. And my mum at the age of 52, when we first joined this company, was on a fast path to an early grave. She was working in corporate Australia, 60 hours a week. She was drinking, honestly, no joke, 15 cups of coffee a day, bottle of red wine to settle at night time. She was intermittently sleeping maybe 4 hours a night. She was centrally obese. And she was just an angry individual. And she won't mind me saying that, because it was awful as a young, woman watching your mum literally killing herself to be able to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like, Mum, if this doesn't change, you're not even going to be around when I'm older to, enjoy the fruits of your labour and your grandchildren that you so badly want. So I look back on, my mum's journey now, 20 years on this product. She's happily 72 going on 45. She's got bucket loads of energy. There is not a bad food in her home. There's probably more, processed food in our home than there is in hers. Her gift to my children each week is a punnet of blueberries. Like that's how she gifts my children. She's svelte. She goes to the gym. She's probably got tighter quads than I do. And she just walks and talks health and well-being. And more importantly, she's here. She's on no medication. She has no health problems. And she's enjoying, for want of a better term, the sunset years of her life, as opposed to having quantity, because let's face it, medicine will keep us alive, but it will not give us quality. So she enjoys both quantity and quality. And again, it's that ripple effect of what this product can do, whether or not scientifically something like, our Healthy Starts program, whether or not the Juice Plus products actually changes the children's health. It certainly creates that ripple effect. I've seen it in my home. I've seen it in the homes of all of my customers and my family who've adopted the Juice Plus lifestyle, because it literally on a daily basis is making you more aware of making positive health changes. So yes, the research is really important to back all of that stuff up, but it's the transformations that I've seen over time when people adopt the Juice Plus lifestyle that is undeniable.
Yeah, amazing. And for those of us that were at the recent conference in Perth, we had the pleasure of seeing you and your mum up on stage side by side and listening to you both. And that was a treat, for me, because I've known you both for 20 years. So it was really, really nice to hear and see you guys together. Tamara, knowing that, actually it's a really good segue, I guess, into my next question, because obviously, once you'd had the belief in the product, the capsules, I know you flew back to Perth and you got together with your mum. And, it wasn't very long after that your mum became a franchisee with the company as well. Can you remember the course of action that you and your mum took at that phase, and sort of what your vision was at that time for why you were creating the business?
So, John, I'll be the first to say that I did nothing with this business for a very long time. I was too good for network marketing. I was going to become a doctor. I just had my little group of customers. I was making changes and making a difference for them. Very organically, I linked arms with a number of different people. Rob Derbyshire there in Sydney was one of those. He had great effect from the products himself, and he could see use for the product. Can we go and do this? Can you just give me another 5 minutes and I'll come and do that with you soon? Is that okay? Thanks, bud. Sorry.
We're used to it.
So where's I going with that? Yeah, so I my growth in the early days was really, really organic and slow, because as you guys know, and anybody knows in this business, when you're actually in this business, that your growth in this business will be directly proportional to the amount of effort that you put in. And I honestly did not put that much effort in. It was really organic. And that's why it took me 12 years to get to National Marketing Director. So, I'll be the first person to put up my hand and say, I did not do this business in the way that I recommend to any of my team these days. Bron, on the other hand, was very different. When she saw the marketing plan, when she understood the concept of compounding and leveraging time, she got to work, because she had a very clear objective, and that was she wanted to replace her corporate income. And for her biggest revelation, and she shared this at conference, was when she went to the international conference, when she saw the vision, when she saw the magnitude, and when she saw women linking arms with women and building this around their homes, around their families, and sharing stories, she wanted to emulate that. And so that's what she brought back to Australia. She established the women's call on a Wednesday night. Like, this was back before Zoom even existed. We had something called VoiceCom back then. So it was, you literally dialed into an international number and you listened to a call. That's how you did it in those days. But she was very business savvy and business minded about this, whereas I was like, no, I'm going to be a health professional. I'm about the product only. I'll link arms with other health professionals and they can go and do the business, and I'll just back and reap the benefits. But you very quickly realize that this is a business that you need to treat like a business, and if you want it to grow and create an income for you, you need to be very business-like about it. But I only realized that, John, 2014 maybe. Yep, 2014, when I had my second child. I had my own traditional bricks and mortar business. I'd achieved the medical status that I wanted to achieve, and my business owned me. My medical business owned me, and the only way that I could generate an income was when I was working in that business. So I very quickly realized, oh my goodness, I have this incredible opportunity to create this Juice Plus income, this additional stream of income in the nooks and crannies of my day that will compound, that will leverage my time, and I'm not taking advantage of it. So that was the point, really, John, when I changed my vision, I changed my perspective, and I realized